everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today we are doing a currently reading update to chat about what I've been reading lately and also just what's been going on, because I haven't been posting videos as much recently, and that's just because there's stuff going on in my life that I just haven't had the time or energy to film and stuff. So here's just like a little update and what I've been reading. So life-wise, most of the reason that I haven't been filming and posting is because earlier in February I mysteriously hurt my back. Don't know how that happened. I think it's just a mix of like getting older, having a desk job, and you know, poor sitting posture catching up with me. So mysteriously hurt my back somehow. And so I, have gone to the doctor, did all the things I need to do, and I will be fine. But it is still kind of, I have some good days and bad days with it, and I just haven't really had the energy to film. Also, because of my back hurting, sitting in a lot of chairs makes it hurt more. So I couldn't sit in my usual spot, which is why we're at a slightly different angle today. I'm standing in front of my bookshelves. You can see these are the top of my bookshelves. Yeah, so that's why I'm at a slightly different angle today, because I'm standing. I feel very off kilter standing to film because I never stand when I'm filming, so it just feels weird, but yeah, I'm doing all right, but my videos probably will be a little more sparse or a little more sporadic for a little while I am kind of fixing whatever it is that's going on with my back. But yeah, that is a lot of kind of what's been going on with me. I also have not been reading as much recently, which you would think I would read more because I have to rest a lot for my back. But the thing is, for me, reading is a hobby that I really only do when I'm feeling good. If I'm not feeling well, whether it's mentally or physically or whatever, I just don't read as much. When I'm not feeling well, I tend to watch things more, watch TV or movies or YouTube or whatever it is, and I just don't read as much. So I haven't been reading a lot lately, but I am trying, I'm kind of slowly starting to feel better, and so I'm trying to get myself back into reading. But yeah, so that's also kind of a thing that's been going on. But let's get into what I've been reading, what I'm going to be reading, all of that. Oh, I just realized I didn't grab one of the books, but that's okay. I don't feel like getting it. So the last book that I read was Damaged Goods by Talia Hibbert, which was a contemporary romance novella that is part of the Ravenswood series, which is a series of romances that all take place in this little town called Ravenswood. And in this one, it is following this character who's kind of a side character in the first book. And in that first book, I think we found out that this side character's husband was abusive, and so this novella is kind of following her, showing that she left him, and she's pregnant, but she left her husband and moves to this small seaside town, and then reconnects with someone that she used to know when she was in high school or something, and they have a romance. So it was a really fun novella. The beginning of March has really been a lot of romance for me. I just binge read 3 contemporary romances back to back, all by Talia Hibbert, because those are kind of my comfort reads, I guess, now. I used to never really read romance, but now contemporary romance, those rom-com romances are the ones that if I'm not feeling great and I want to read something, those are just a really fun, easy, comfort read kind of thing. So that's been the beginning of March for me so far. Then for what I'm reading right now, I'm not sure what is happening with my reading. I have a nonfiction book that I am working on which is Laziness Does Not Exist by Devin Price. So this is essentially, this is about what the author calls the laziness lie, which is this lie that, you know, capitalism tells us about how working more makes us a better person, you know, how we assign morality to work, and then that makes us like work too much and ignore our own health and our own needs, and just like drive ourselves into the ground with working. And then I think so at the moment, I'm like maybe halfway through the book, and I've been enjoying it. It's very readable. I actually usually read nonfiction as audiobooks, but I decided to pick this one up as a physical read. And it's been like very readable, which is great. And I think they make a lot of like interesting points, and they talk a little bit about some of the history of what they're calling the laziness lie. I'm enjoying this so far. I have 2 books that I've kind of started, but I've only read the first like 20 pages of or something, so I'm not really sure where I'm going with these. One of them is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. So this I meant to read in February because it was on my winter TBR, but because my reading in February was like so weird and everything. Well, I guess I didn't like mention that in February I didn't really read a lot. My February wrap-up is going to be coming out soon, but I only read 3 books in the whole month, so not a lot of reading happened in February. So I started this and I was enjoying it, but I just haven't really gotten very far in it. Where am I in this actually? Yeah, I'm like 26 pages into this, so not very far along, but I do want to continue it. I just don't know if I'm in the mood for it right now, because recently I really have just been in the mood to read either like romance or nonfiction, which is just kind of weird for me because like I do read those genres, but they're usually more like sprinkled in among my fantasy, and recently I've just been like, this is the only thing I want to read. But yeah, so I am going to continue reading this, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be reading it like right away, like right now or not. The other one that I started, this is the problem with standing. Okay, so the other one that I started was The Witches of Lilien, I think is how it's pronounced, which is a reread. I've been meaning to reread this series for a while. I meant to reread it last year, but I just didn't get around to it. But I finally started my reread, and I have been enjoying it. I only read the first 16 pages of this, and I have been liking it, but I probably should explain what this is about at least a little bit. But so this takes place in a world called Lilien, where at one point in their history, witches were outlawed and hunted. And in this, we're following this girl who has been raised in seclusion in this like protected valley. And she like lives in a tree with this old woman, and this is the only other human she's ever interacted with pretty much. And this is to protect them from the outside world that is hunting witches. And at the beginning of the book, this woman shows up who knows the old woman that our main character, I think her name is Isabeau. She knows the old woman that Isabeau has been living with, but this is like the first stranger that she's ever met. And that's kind of where I'm at, is like this woman has showed up, and she's talking to this woman, this older woman that Isabeau has been living with. And I think that something happens that kind of forces them out of this valley and back into the world. And of course we find out that, you know, Isabeau, our main character, has magic of some kind. But yeah, so that's about all I remember about this, or what I have gleaned from the first 16 pages. But I have been liking it. The one thing I don't really like about this though is that it writes like accents into into the words, like, or it uses a lot of like ye and ken, and instead of, whenever they say the word old, they spell it A-U-L-D, so it's more like old or something. I don't know, but they're like trying to kind of write the accent into the text, which I am generally not a fan of, but I do want to continue rereading this because I've only just started. But again, just like not sure if I'm in the mood for fantasy. So those are the things that I am reading right now. As for what I'm going to read next, also don't know, but I have a few options. If I want to continue on with my contemporary romance kick, I do have the audiobook for Well Matched by Jen DeLuca. I think it's called Well Matched, which is the series of kind of like Renaissance Festival contemporary romances. Well Met was the first book, and I really enjoyed Well Met. The second book was like okay, and the third one I have heard some kind of things about, but I want to give it a try, and I just got the audiobook from my library. So I might be reading that if I want to kind of continue in this contemporary romance vein. I also will be reading Kingdom of Copper soon, and I'm going to be buddy reading that. Be buddy reading it on Discord, so if anybody wants to join us, you're welcome to. I'll put the link in the description. And actually, we're going to be starting it very soon though. I think we said around the 11th, which when this video is going up will be like this Friday. So if you would like to join us, you're welcome to. But I am going to be reading Kingdom of Copper soon. And then what was the other book? Oh, there was also another Penric book that I was going to listen to the audiobook for, which, let me find it because I forgot the title of it. It was Knot of Shadows. And so that is I think that's the most recent Penric and Desdemona novella. So might read that also. I don't really know. I just have no idea what kind of reading mood I am in right now, and I'm just trying to kind of mood read whatever feels right to kind of get myself back in the rhythm of reading, because I just really haven't been reading a lot lately. But that is all that I am currently reading, what I'm thinking I might read next. I'd love to know how your reading has been going. I haven't like been on here a lot recently, so how are you? But yeah, thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye.